Clothing. We wear it all the time, obviously, even if we don't want to. But did you know that clothing is a form of non-verbal communication that could potentially show culture or background? Yes, obviously, you did. You're smart audiences. But I want to get into the depths of it and see where clothing actually originated it from. How is it that clothing came from a practical piece of whatever it is, fabric, and became an identity highlighter or a key to understanding someone's personality? Today we'll be looking at items of clothing that the UK stole from other countries and whether there have been many influences in these particular items that we wear today. For example, the British clothing that we all go around wearing today actually came with a lot of Western influence. And you can expect a lot of jeans and t-shirts. However, in Britain, most clothing items will fall into a much smaller category. One of loungewear, smart cash, formal wear. Fun fact numero uno, did you know that Neanderthals who lived in countries on the former Eurasia continent were the first species of humankind to wear clothes? True story. Been there, saw it myself in the museum. Straight away you can see that we did in fact steal clothing, if you want to go that far into history. But let's look at some specific items of clothing. And here we go. Let's find out where the Brits stole clothing from. Let's start with jeans, as it's the item of clothing that I'm sure everyone's familiar with and we all wear it literally all the time, myself included. Fun fact about jeans, they actually originated in 19th century USA.
The oldest pair of Levi Strauss blue jeans known to exist.
This is a pair of 1890s Levi's blue jeans that have virtually never been worn.
No slim fit here, they're a lot boxier. Notice the traditional button fly, but look, only one back pocket.
They didn't add that until 1902.
Who would have thought that an item of clothing was gonna be an everyday item for the whole planet? Also, on this note, why do we call it a pair of jeans if it's just one item? Same for pants. Why is it a pair of pants if we just have one butt? Jeans are a little bit controversial when it comes to Jeans are a little bit controversial when it comes to categorizing them. Some wear them as loungewear, however they normally come under the smart casual wear, and nowadays you'll see jeans in supermarkets, fancy bars, restaurants, workplace, even weddings. I went to a wedding the other day and I swear half of the guests were wearing jeans. Nice jeans though. So jeans are not just jeans, they also have their own styles. Moving on to another bottom half of your body of clothing, we have leggings, which, whilst women now favor leggings, the first appearance of what we now call a legging were on men.
In fact, men have been wearing what we call now leggings for centuries, long before yoga pants became a thing. They were usually made of wool, linen, or leather, and they provided warmth and protection for the legs.
Yeah, okay, so pairing leggings with an oversized jumper gives you the perfect comfy casual look for any kind of occasion. And you see that literally anywhere on the street. Whilst we have now looked at the bottom half, let's actually investigate a little bit of the top half of our bodies. And let's look at jumpers and t-shirts. And I'm sure everyone knows what these are, right? Unless you're from the USA, we're actually talking about sweaters and t-shirts. Did you know that t-shirts were invented somewhere in between the Spanish-American War in 1898 and 1913, when the US Navy began issuing them as a standard undershirt uniform? But also t-shirts date back to the late 19th century, where laborers would cut their jumpsuits in half to keep cool during the warm seasons when they were working. Who knew that the most staple item of clothing has so much history behind it? Interestingly enough, jumpers, or sweaters for you American folk, thanks for watching by the way, subscribe if you haven't, love you, were produced on the English Channel Islands of Guernsey and Jersey. So this is something we didn't actually steal. Who knew jumpers were actually British to begin with? It was not until the 15th century that the first knitted shirts or tunics were produced here. And now, let's move on into shoes. Whether it's your Converse or your joggers or your trainers or your fancy shoes, we're gonna talk about shoes nonetheless. We all have a love for high heels or comfy shoes, but did you know, fun fact, that trainers were actually invented in the UK. The first pair of running shoes were made in 1895 by a company called J.W. Foster's and Son. But it's Foster's without the S, I misread the thing. The company were awarded a contract in 1924 for the British Summer Olympic team, so clearly our love for trainers in the UK is showing right here at the point of origin. There it is! Who knew that the clothes that we put on every single day were stolen from the other countries around the world, with the exception of, from what I understand, shoes and t-shirts? Leave it in the comments though, what's your favorite article of clothing and where was it invented? I'll see you in the next video. Remember to subscribe or follow us or follow or like or whatever, depends where you're watching this video, on Instagram and all sorts. We'll see you in the next one. Laters!